Counsel is seated.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Galerio, do you remember last week when portions of your videotape deposition were played
I did.
in court? Okay. And focusing specifically, do you remember a portion of your deposition that was played where you talked about what kinds of hypothetical celebrity sex tapes would not be newsworthy?
Yeah, I did.
You were being questioned, okay, is this newsworthy? What wouldn't be newsworthy? That wouldn't be newsworthy. And then you said something about, they're asking you about what wouldn't be newsworthy. And one of your answers said something to the effect, if the sex tape involved a child, that would not be newsworthy.
That's
you remember
correct.
that testimony?
I do.
Okay, or that question. And then plaintiff's counsel asked you under what age. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I do.
And you said 4. Do you remember that answer?
I do remember that.
You saw that video when it was played, right? Mr. Galerio, were you being serious in that answer?
Not in the slightest.
Okay. Were you being sarcastic?
Yes, very much.
All right. Now, was this toward the end of that day?
It was. Yeah, it was a very long day.
Okay. Was it late in the day?
Yeah.
All right. Now, let me ask you this. Did you think that the people in the room, in the deposition, you were in a small conference room, right?
Yes.
Okay. And your counsel, someone from our firm, was present with you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And someone from Mr. Harder's firm was the person doing the questioning, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you think at the time, the people in that little conference room, do you think they recognized that you were being sarcastic?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Was it hard to watch that clip being displayed in this court?
Yeah, very hard.
I take it, lest there be any doubt, that is not your actual view that it is newsworthy to post a tape of a child as long as the child is over 4.
Yeah, that's not my view at all.
Okay. Now, let us go back and just wrap up a few points on this business about your post that appeared on October 4, 2012. To this day, March 14 of 2016, do you know who it was that sent that sex tape to you?
I don't.
Now, was that important for you to know?
No, not in this case.
Can you explain to us why it was not important for you to know who the anonymous sender was?
Because the tape had already been discussed in the public sphere, and I was told it was going to have something to do with that tape in particular. The person who sent it was really of no interest to me. I was going to watch it and perhaps write about it, but I was not getting any sort of pressure from anyone outside to write about it or use it.
All right. Let me ask you this. Was there, as you sat there back in October 2012, was there any doubt in your mind that the plaintiff, Mr. Hogan, was the person who appeared on that sex tape?
Yeah, there was no doubt.
Okay. As you sat there to prepare your piece, you didn't think, holy cow, this could be ginned up, right?
I did not think that. No.
Okay. Did you fear for a minute that perhaps it were not Mr. Hogan, but that it were of some body double? Did you have any thought of that whatsoever?
No, not at all.
Okay. Now, when you viewed the tape, did you recognize certain things? we've already talked about. We obviously recognized Mr. Hogan, right?
Correct.
Did you recognize, as you watched that tape, did you recognize any other, what I will call, confirmatory things?
Well, I recognize Bubba the Love Sponge's voice. That's
Okay. What about, like, the names of his children?
Yeah. In the tape, he had made reference to his son Nick about meeting up with him at midnight, I believe, on the tape. And from watching Hogan Knows Best, I knew his name. And I also believe his ringtone was a song by his daughter, Brooke.
Okay. All right. Now, shifting your focus again, did you contact the plaintiff to give him an opportunity to comment on the piece that you were publishing?
I did not.
Okay. And let me ask you this. Did you contact his attorney, Mr. Houston?
No, I did not.
Okay. So you didn't contact either the plaintiff or his attorney to give him a chance to comment?
No.
No. Now, why not?
They had already commented on the tape in question on TMZ, and I was very satisfied with everything that I'd seen on the footage. I needed no clarification on it.
Okay. You were satisfied by what you had seen, that this was, in fact, the sex tape that had been foretold back in March?
That's true.
All right. Now, I want you to focus on your deposition. You testified in the past in your deposition. You explained that you did not consider the impact of this post on Mr. Hogan prior to the time you published it. Right?
That's true.
Okay. Now, as you sit there with us today, you're aware, I take it, that strikes some folks as rather harsh?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you explain that? How do you explain as a journalist that you cannot be focused on whether the person's going to be upset? Can you explain that to folks?
Yeah, and sometimes when you put information out there to the public that is not something that the person you're going to write about is going to like, you can come off as pretty callous. But that is my job, and that's usually the job of journalists, is to just put information out there that's fair and accurate.
Is being a journalist, at least at certain points along the road, is it a tough job?
Yes, definitely.
Now, let's talk about you personally. Did you personally profit from the post on the Hulk Hogan sex tape?
I received a monetary bonus at the end of the month.
Okay. Could you explain to the folks how the bonuses, at least at that time when you were there in October 2012, how they worked at Gawker?
Sure. There's for our traffic numbers, which are basically tracking the readership, you have a set amount that each site it's like a goal for traffic. So if you exceed that by 20%, you get 20% of what your total editorial budget is for the month. So it's capped at 20% regardless of how far over you go for the month. Then that is the monetary amount, which I can't remember the exact number of what it was that month. But
I think it was around $27,000, the whole bonus pool.
whole bonus. Okay.
Okay. Now, that bonus pool, how is that then shared? Do you remember what it was that you received?
I received $2,000.
Pardon?
$2,000?
Okay. And, Mr. Galerio, is that why you posted this story, to get a $2,000 bonus?
No.
Okay. Why did you post the story?
I posted the story because I had the tape in my possession. It was a news story that I was somewhat interested in when it first came out in March and April, and I wanted to write about this. I wanted to write about celebrity sex tapes in general. I wanted to write about this one in particular.
All right. Now, did you, excuse me, did you give consideration to plaintiff's privacy before you published the video excerpt?
Given the fact that he's a public figure and that this tape was already discussed on many other publications up to that point, I did not.
Okay. Do you think that celebrities have no right to be let alone, say, even in their own homes?
I think it's limited at this point, but public figures live a different life.
Okay. Was Mr. Boulea in his own home, as far as you understand it?
No, he was not.
All right. Did you think, could you tell from watching the tape whether they knew they were being recorded?
I couldn't tell, but, I was skeptical.
Okay. And why would you say you were skeptical? Why were you skeptical?
Well, and we're talking about celebrity sex tapes in general. A lot of people who market celebrity sex tapes usually claim that they were stolen or leaked along those lines. And that was my impression when Mr. Hogan and Mr. Houston both spoke on TMZ, that this was their way of getting publicity for the sex tape.
Okay. And if we could go back to Plaintiff's Exhibit 2, you recall we looked at those little red hyperlinks. Kim, I think it's below that. There you go. That's the sentence you were telling us about last week. Sorry. Hulk lawyered up because he claims he was secretly filmed, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And then, below that, if you look at the paragraph